it's almost league meetings time. And you know what that means, Jules.
Rule change proposals.
That's right. So we're going to look at some of the proposals and decide how we would vote. Let's check them out.
Let's check them out. What do we got? What are some of these league rule changes? All right, the Detroit Lions have proposed allowing wild card teams to be higher seeded than division winners.
Isn't that how the NBA does it? They kind of like reseed.
I think they do.
Yeah.
The Lions have also submitted a rule change seeking to eliminate automatic first downs when penalized for defensive holding and illegal contact. That's not a. I think that's kind of. I agree with that too.
I kind of like both.
Well, Detroit did lead the league with 11 holding calls in 2024. So, I mean, you can't beat them. You might as well change the rule.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard. I think you should be rewarded if you win your division.
I know what you mean.
So then you should be higher.
It kind of goes up and down, you know. It's just because of the scenario like last year. It's not like this happens all the time, you know. You had the Minnesota Vikings. They would have been they should have been the number 1 seed or number 2 seed. Instead, they were like the 5th or 6th seed. And then there was teams that won their division. And the Minnesota Vikings had what was a 14-3 record or 13-4. And then the teams that won their division at the number 4 seed and number 3 seed, they were like 10-8 or 10-7 or 11-6. So it's rare that situation happens where 3 teams like the Packers, Lions and Minnesota Vikings just dominate overall. I kind of like how it's set up. I understand where they're coming from because of that situation, but this is football. Like, you got to earn it, and you get rewarded for winning your division. Divisions change throughout the year, throughout the year, depending on the year that it is, and competition changes. It's just such a turnover in the NFL. So I kind of like where it's at right now.
I like where it's at right now, but then after the first round, wild card weekend, they should reseed
them after that. That's a good point. There you go. So
because if you're you got to win your division. If you win your division, you should host a game. Then after that, let's reseed.
I mean, but what about this situation though? This is why it could possibly make sense, because like a scenario like in 2011, the Seahawks, I'm pretty sure they were 7-9. They won their division, but they hosted the 11-5 Saints. And that was the Beastquake game with Beast Mode. But like that scenario right there is kind of what the rule change is kind of proposing to eliminate, is a team that wins their division only at 7-9. Like in that scenario, what do you think?
They still won their division.
Good point.
They still won their division. And I feel like every time I remember there was like a 4 or 5 year span, the AFC East. Remember they'd always have that when they were kind of down, they'd have those 7-9 teams or those 8-8 teams that were making the playoffs, or they'd have a tie. So they'd if you win your division, I think you got to keep your home game. Okay. So, I mean, that's the first goal in every locker room. Okay, it's not to make the playoffs, it's to win the division.
Yeah, but you're still going to go to the playoffs if you win your division. They're just saying reseeding it, so the team with the 11-5 record has a higher seed than the team that won the division, at 7-9.
I know, but that team that's 11-5 didn't win their division because maybe that year, every year is not going to be last year where there's 4 or 3 double-digit winning teams in a division. That happens once every 5 years, once every 6 years. The Lions trying to propose that. All right, you can't stop holding. You want to change a penalty. You lose in the playoffs. We want to be reseeding. Okay, we can't do that. Detroit, let's go win the division. Let's go win the division. They won the division though, didn't they? No.
Yeah, they won. They were the number 1 seed last year.
So, but they proposed it.
Yeah, And they proposed it because they actually played in that final game last year, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions, and whoever lost was the number 5 seed, and whoever won was the number 1 seed. There was just too big of a gap, in that situation, for two
Yeah, I
teams
don't know
that
where I stand
kind
on
of
this
both
after all
deserve to
this.
be number 1. So I don't know.
It's a
I
good
kind
rule
of like where
change,
it's at.
maybe.
It is, but I like where it's at. Keep the playoffs how it is.
Yeah, I
Keep it
mean,
how it is.
there's already everyone makes a damn playoff. There's 7 teams now, right? 7 on each.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that when that first came in, the 7th. You're like, oh, you can win. The Green Bay Packers have proposed to prohibit any offense player from pushing a teammate who is lined up directly behind the snapper and receives the snap immediately at the snap, the tush push. They want to eliminate the tush. I think it's technically illegal to push people from behind.
I thought it was illegal the whole time I was in the NFL.
They rescinded it?
So was it? I swear it was illegal to push someone that was carrying the ball when we were playing, Julian. And then that rule got switched that you can push someone that's carrying the ball. And then that's how the tush push got created. I see.
I don't know, man. I don't like fundamentally that like we're making a rule because people can't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
It's the game of football. It's called you line up your best 11 guys versus our best 11 guys. And you got to stop us moving this football from one point to another point. And no matter what you got to do it, you just do it. And now they're trying to implement a rule to where it would stop them from their techniques and their game plans and their creativity because they're successful. I like the tush push. They got to come up with ways to stop it.
Yeah, I think I like it too. If everyone could run it, then everyone would run it. But we saw Buffalo Bills try to run it like 3 times in a row and got stuffed.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's part of execution. They know how to execute the play. I don't think they should can the play because only one team knows how to run it right.
Mm-hmm.
I think the defenses need to get better. Let's move on. Philadelphia Eagles have proposed grant both teams an opportunity to possess the ball regardless of the outcome of the first possession, subject to a 15-minute overtime period in the regular season. Basically, makes the regular season overtime rules the same as the postseason overtime rules. Should it be implicated? Yeah.
No, it should not be. It should not be implemented,
Why?
Julian. I like the rules that they're different than the postseason. The regular season is the regular season. I mean, I feel like a lot of pro teams, pro leagues have different sets of rules. It's like the NHL. You have a shootout, once the overtime's over. But when you get to the playoffs, there's no such thing as a shootout. It's whoever scores next. It's sudden death. I like that it's 2 different scenarios because the regular season is the regular season. It needs to amp up, and that amps it up to another level when you get to the playoffs. So I like the differential, and I don't think it should be implemented. I just don't. I like where it's at.
See, I don't mind the regular season overtime rule. I just don't like that there's a different rule when the playoffs start. So I think the rule should be the same. Are we going to keep it this way or are we going to go to the other way for all season long? Because clearly the 49ers 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing, did they take the ball? Did they not take the ball? Were they thinking it was the regular season? Was it the unregular season? Which that shouldn't be a problem because we should have people that understand that. But I think it'd be better for the player. I don't know. Because what are they trying to say? In the regular season, they want to end the games quicker. Is it a longer game in overtime in the postseason potentially?
I think that's the play there is that in the regular season, they don't want it to last. The game of
Yeah,
football
I
lasts
agree. I agree.
5+
I just had to
quarters.
talk it out.
It's hard to already play 4 quarters and not be beat up, the following week. So to play
God forbid
5
this happens
quarters,
on a
15
Sunday when you have
minutes,
a Thursday night game next
that's a
week.
lot.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, Jules. There you
Yeah,
go.
you talked me into it.
There you go.
No rule change.